Hey guys, it's Kay Steinsip here. I'm here for coffee and commiseration with you. Thanks for coming back or joining for the first time. I hope you all are doing okay during these crazy times. I have spent most of my day today out in Pacific Palisades. That's where our house is. And while it's still standing, everything around it burnt. And our local elementary school burnt, all of our friends' homes, all of our shops and restaurants and dry cleaners and just everything that makes a community, it's all gone. And every time I go up there, I'm struck by the magnitude of the disaster and seeing all of these burnt out buildings and cars. And every place I see, I have memories of being there with friends and family and school activities. The beautiful thing about the Palisades is that it's a really close knit community, and everybody kind of knows everybody and takes care of each other. And so um, we're all worried about where's our post office, post lady, and where's the guy that works at the grocery store, and are these people okay, and taking care to make sure that we know where they are now as we've all sort of um, scattered all around Southern California. But that's the kind of community we have, such that we're all making sure we know where our people are and that they are as okay as they can be right now. So it's a heavy day, really tough couple of hours for me out there. And then all of the Jewish community is in so much pain because of the spectacle that took place today in Israel. As I'm sure you know, Kafir and Ariel Bibas were returned home to Israel in coffins. And their mother, Shiri, was supposed to be returned with them, and she wasn't. She wasn't. They said that they returned her body, but they didn't. They returned a coffin with her picture on it, and some horrible message on the side of it about when she was taken into captivity as a prisoner of Hamas. And it turned out to not even be her. And all the while, there is this terrible parade and celebration of this horribly depraved, demonic, sadistic act of taking babies from their cribs, a 9-month-old child who didn't even have teeth, so that he could be identified by his remains. A 9-month-old baby. And people all around the world ripped down his picture. And his brother, Ariel, only 4 years old. It will never make sense to me why the entire world has not been on the same page, screaming from the rooftops that those children needed to come home on October 8th, not return to Israel in coffins over 500 days later. It's not acceptable in any realm, no matter what your politics are, no matter what your religion is. This is basic humanity. You do not take children. It is not an act of resistance. It is not being a freedom fighter. These are depraved, demoralized terrorists. And those are the people that, unfortunately, many of our college students and others in the West have decided to align themselves with. And they did so on October 8th, many of them. So that's what we're dealing with. And many of us see that reality much more clearly now than we did in the past. I think we thought, at least I thought, anti-Semitism was largely a thing of the past. And now we realize, no, it is very much alive and well. And it's something that we have to confront every day and something we have to think about for our kids. And it's so ugly. It is so ugly and despicable. And I see the generational trauma in my husband. I see it in my Jewish friends. that it's like everything their grandparents told them about the fact that many in the world actually hate them and want to see them dead is actually true, that that's actually the case. And I have to say, from my vantage point, looking at this for the last, more than 500 days, there's truth in that. And I cannot understand why. I don't understand why. And I think we really need to examine, as a society, what in the world are we thinking when we can't condemn rape, we can't condemn people being abducted into Gaza and being held captive in tunnels without air, without water, without food. It's unfathomable to me. I don't get it. And it's some act of bravery that people wear these hostage pins or earrings or whatever. Every person in the world should be wearing those and saying, yeah, get those hostages back. We don't take hostages. Like, under no circumstances do we take innocent people. Do we take innocent babies and toddlers and kidnap them into a hellhole and then use their bodies as negotiating tactics, as bargaining chips? And to separate Shiri from her babies, it is as a mother who is separated from her child in death. And I live with that torture every day of my life, being separated from Molly. And the idea that those babies are without their mother and what led them to be without her. Where is she? Is she still alive in Gaza? And her babies were just returned in coffins? And some other random person is in this coffin they tried to say was her? Like, the psychological torture and debauchery, it never ends. It never ends. And many of you, I hope, will think about and reflect on just having empathy for human beings who did nothing wrong. Like, they did absolutely nothing. They were innocent people living on the border because they were peacenik types. And they were treated the most barbarically, inhumanely, animalistically way you can possibly imagine. Nobody should be on the side of Hamas. Nobody. So I hope that I can use this platform to shine a light on some of these things that are near and dear to my heart. I'm a proud Jew. I love Israel. I will always speak up for Israel. And that doesn't mean that I support the current Israeli government. But, that doesn't matter to a lot of people. I had someone say to me recently, someone I respect, she was like, I love you so much and I respect you so much. I just don't agree with you on Palestine. And I'm like, I've just been thinking about it. Like, what does that mean? Obviously people are free to disagree, but like, in what way do you not agree with me on Palestine? Because all I've said is that innocent people must not be abducted and raped and murdered and held captive, and their bodies paraded around this country, and that the anti-Semitism that's exploded all over the world, including on the UCLA college campus where my son's a student, that's unacceptable and disgusting. And I'm going to call it out and speak out against it every chance I get. But as for the Palestinian people, I have always said, I am so sorry. My heart breaks for anyone who loses a loved one. And it truly, truly does. And I know that there is a long and complicated and painful history in the land that both of these groups have ancient ties to. And I never want to see war, ever. But sometimes it seems that there is no alternative to war. And Hamas is a death cult that uses its own people as human shields. This is an ideology that believes that life begins at death, that the afterlife is the true paradise. And this life is, all just in preparation for that. And if you die a martyr, you're immediately greeted by 72 virgins on the other side. So you can see in the images that came out today of what's happening in Gaza with these horrible ceremonies that they put these poor people through, and even dead bodies of children that they put on display. You see that there are very large numbers of non-Hamas civilians who are cheering, who are participating, and who did participate. In fact, the Bibas kids were not taken by Hamas. They were taken by non-Hamas Palestinians. So we have to get real and honest in saying that some serious deprogramming is going to have to take place, and that this ideology is one that believes that the entire purpose in life is to kill Jews, that there should not be any Jews anywhere. They believe in a one-state solution, and that one state is not including any Jews in it. So it's always baffled me why my very smart, sensible, empathetic friends on the left were so quick to immediately leap to the side of, these are freedom fighters, resistance fighters. They were saying that before Israel did anything at all, before it had responded. It's like Israel could do nothing to satisfy a lot of these folks. Anyway, so like so many Jews, my heart is with Yarden Bibas. I cannot imagine his grief at finally being returned home to Israel after 500 days of captivity, only to find out that his wife Shiri and his beautiful boys were also murdered. I even as someone who suffered enormous grief, it's beyond my comprehension to think about what he must be feeling. And so my heart is with Yarden and with all of the hostage families, as it always has been, with Rachel and John, Hirsch's parents, with everyone who still has a loved one that hasn't been home. My heart is with all of you. And I couldn't be prouder to be part of the Jewish people. I'm so proud to stand with you. And I'm so proud to stand with Israel. Am Yisrael Chai.